Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV, and welcome to the match review of our hard-fought and impossible win over Cardiff today. And even the fact that I'm saying this is a bit disappointing because Cardiff have been one of the most underperforming teams in the league so far this season. And luck definitely played a massive factor in helping us get this win. But there was one important thing that really gave us the biggest factor in getting the win in the end. And that was the substitutions made by Sarri to bring on Hazard, which is obviously common sense, Ruben, and Olivier Giroud as well. Now, before then, Sarri came out stating that, in that sense, he was forced to pick the lineup he had to. Now, Hudson-Odoi didn't start. It seems very likely that he will be starting in the Europa League game, obviously, next week. But even then, we never saw Emerson, who is fully fit now. We didn't see other guys playing as well, and it was a bit confusing. And I personally feel like most of these guys we saw for the first 55 minutes just aren't good enough. The amount of criticisms I have for our midfielders in this game today, for Alonso as well, the fullbacks, and just how this squad just isn't tailor-made or suited to really get the best out of each other's components, it's frustrating. But, and the question is, should Sarri be doing better with this lineup? Now, as I always said, and I'm sorry you guys, I honestly feel like I'm very clear, and I feel people purposely misconstrue what I say. But there has been context in regards to why Sarri has made certain decisions this season. But that doesn't mean that he's valid from every criticism of this lineup. I don't personally feel like, honestly, I feel like I'm very fair because I feel like I get the context when it's correct. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm the type of person that doesn't like to take his answers at face value. I like to understand the deeper meaning behind things. I like to understand the context because I want to paint a very clear picture for myself before I make any definitive decision. But today, if there was ever a time for Sarri to realise I need to start using guys like Ruben, who, as I always say every single time, has that galvanising effect on the team with how he creates space for others, how he moves into space. He's an attacking outlet. He makes a forward pass. He makes things happen. And when you think about other guys that don't get a fair amount of game time like Emerson, and yes, of course, at the start of the season, Emerson had his issues behind the scenes with the club, but things are better now. And when you see Marcos Alonso with another disgraceful performance, it's getting you thinking, why isn't Sarri using Emerson? And for me, there is no excuse. I'm not going to sit here and say Emerson isn't clearly playing in training. I don't follow that stuff. I don't like that argument or that point. There is no sense now. And the only thing I can think of, and it's the one major criticism I've had of Sarri, and of course there's been lots I've had, but the main one is that Sarri doesn't embrace the attacking instincts of this team. Too often, he's worried about how we're going to be off the ball, how we're going to press, how we're going to defend. But why does that matter if we never have any goals to defend? We don't score. That's always been the major issue, and the main reason why we concede in the first place is because we lose the ball in the opposition half and we get countered every single time. I mean, look at Alonso today. They're one of the major weaknesses of the team this season. The amount of times Jorginho had to push to the left-hand side to support him, ridiculous. He shouldn't be doing that. He should not be doing that. Alonso should be competent enough against a standard of opposition in Cardiff to deal with that threat. But he's shown consistently, and I'll give him credit, because he has been consistent with his awfulness. He doesn't add anything to the team. He's not providing anything. And my thing is, he doesn't deserve to play. That's how poor he's been. I don't care if Emerson isn't even a better player than Alonso, because Alonso's performances have been so poor. He does not deserve to play. And the thing that people keep constantly mistaking every single time is that when you provide context to really paint a bigger picture, people think that you're defending the manager, and it's like, I've done so many videos critiquing Sarri and his decisions and things I want to see and issues that I see in the team that I really don't understand why people still put me in that bracket. I'm not going to lie, it's getting kind of annoying now. But as I've said, now we know that it's down to Sarri worrying more about how we press off the ball. It's not a good enough reason, because goals are the most important thing. Let's score the goals first, as I've said time and time again, before we start worrying about how we're going to seal out the game. That's the best of both worlds approach that I would like to see. I think he end up utilising the squad a lot more better. And I think that that's what Sarri needs to do until the season ends, because There's no way that this team and this squad are really able to fulfill all the tactical demands of Sarri ball. It's not going to be happening. I mean, just look at the performance we saw for the first 55 minutes. The lack of execution I'm constantly talking about was awful. Now, I'm sure people have their own issues with what's happening. You know, everyone's got their own major issue with Sarri in the system. A lot of them are wrong because they're not on point and they're not the main issues. But obviously, Jorginho, he was getting man-marked by Kamaza. For me, it's not really a big deal. And let's be serious, one of the reasons as to why Jorginho is such an important player in the role he plays is because, you know, he constantly has to play while being marked. I mean, people make out as if this is a new thing that's never happened before to him, which I think is just ignorant. He's able to do that, but when you have a guy like Jorginho, what do you need? You need that movement. You need the vertical, horizontal movement because you need to create the passing option. Now, I was looking at the first half, I was like, wow, we didn't create a single shot on goal until the substitutions from Sarri, and it was quite evident. Now, even though Pedro and Willian weren't amazing, they weren't the main issues as to why we were so poor. What actually came down to that was our midfield. The midfields in Barkley and Cover, they can't play this style of football, I'm sorry. I mean, I was reading nonsense about how maybe Sarri's been the one holding Barkley back. Complete ignorance, and it's like, I don't understand what people see when they watch a player. Do you not see him constantly slowing down the play, losing the ball with a poor first touch? I mean, how many times does Barkley just, stare at the ball before he makes a pass? Most players at this level don't have to look at their feet before they move the ball. But for me, it's another example of just the lack of confidence he shows playing this style of football. It doesn't suit him. I mean, so many times there were opportunities for him to make the late man run forwards, which he never does. He hides. When Ruben comes on, it's completely different. And that should shut down anyone's argument that Sarri in the system is holding Barkley back. I mean, are you guys hearing yourself? Come on now. Are you hearing yourselves by saying that statement? Ruben comes on and shows you exactly what we need in our number 8. And it was no surprise that with his introduction, as well as Hazard as well, that the game turned in our favour. We started to force them back. And it was a completely different game. It really was. This game had everything. It had luck, awful moments of play, passion, no desire, everything. And I really feel like this game this season really sums up Sarri. And if Sarri watches this game again, which obviously he is, because that's what a manager does, I'm hoping that, and it's probably the final time I can hope for this, for the next league game, that he's going to start to accept that maybe he is the bottleneck for his own system and for how the team are so far. And I'm saying this because if you're using players that just aren't suited to the style of football consistently when you don't have to, then you're asking for it. If you're using players that just don't deserve to be playing when they're not on form and they don't deserve to be playing on merit, then you are asking for it in that sense. And this is a frustration that Chelsea fans will really know about over the past few years because Sarri is not the first pragmatic manager that makes these decisions that lack any bravery. Let's be serious. Whenever he relies upon the attacking players, it's always at the end to save the day. I don't understand that approach. I don't understand why it can't be flipped in reverse. Let's start the game with the winning mentality, then focus on sealing out the win afterwards. That way you utilise the squad better, as I was saying earlier. Imagine, we've won the game in the first 60 minutes, 2-0 up. You take off Higuain, you've got Giroud on. With Giroud up front, he's going to be able to hold up the ball, have the aerial presence, and whenever players are under pressure and they need an outlet to just release the ball, you've got Giroud. And the good thing is with Giroud is if you have guys like an Eden playing beside him or a Ruben, he has that person to link with. Now you're creating counter-attacks, and I feel that's the proper game management, which I've been saying throughout the season. And I'm hoping that Sarri finally is going to see the light because I don't understand why he isn't. I like Sarri. I believe in him. I think his things can work. But to deserve the chance to go forward in the future, you have to do something good in the present. And so far, Sarri just isn't doing that. And as I keep stressing this match review, he keeps focusing on the pragmatic over the adventurous. We've seen that when our best players play together, we start creating chances, there's more movement. I mean, my God, even though there was luck in the first goal because Aspie was offside, we scored from 2 crosses. 2 crosses. We've got the worst cross completion. We've got players that can't cross the ball properly. I mean, there was one comical moment when Alonso had all the time and space down the left to put in any cross he wanted. And what does he do? He overhits it. And I'm thinking, wow, when guys are doing stuff like this, you got no chance today. But this is what I mean by having players that complement the system, having our best players playing together, because it makes things happen, chances get created, and we start to open teams up. I find it very interesting too. We looked a bit more promising when Jorginho's come off. Now for me, this doesn't mean Jorginho's been poor. I guarantee someone's going to misconstrue what I say there, but this doesn't mean he's poor. Jorginho is a niche player. He's a specialist. And normally, you know, it's normally the best teams that have players like this, because when you focus on one particular style of football, you want players that can, you know, maximize what they do in certain roles. You know, if you're a possession team, instead of having a balanced player in like a defensive mid, you want someone that's comfortable playing out from the back, knowing that he's going to add the extra 5% possession for the team overall. That's really going to get the best out of what you want in the team and the system. One reality is, it seems like the team just don't work with Jorginho. If you're not going to start guys like Ruben, if you're not going to use attacking fullbacks like Emerson to help stretch your play and speed up the play, if you're not going to use Hudson-Odoi more, then you're not going to get the best out of Jorginho. And this is another example of what I mean by Sarri being a bottleneck. Now, for a lot of people that listen to me acutely, this isn't new what I'm saying. A lot of you guys get my perspective. You understand the nuances of what I'm saying. Honestly, I know I don't like to make things about myself. I hate that. But it's just that in particular, you know, I've been getting a lot of comments of people just not understanding my opinion or where I'm coming from. And it's getting a bit frustrating. It really is. Because I spend a lot of time writing scripts to try and maximize all my words perfectly and efficiently, or as best as I can. But as I said, I'm hoping that people are going to understand my position a bit more. In this match review, I've tried to be a bit more direct, to really sell all my thoughts and opinions I've had throughout this season, which I've commented on and spoken about a lot in previous videos. But the major thing to take from this is that Sarri is probably the biggest bottleneck for the team currently, because of course he has the actions where, you know, he takes full responsibility. He makes the choices and the decisions, and I think sometimes he's just thinking too pragmatically instead of being adventurous and doing what's best for the team currently. Listen, for a team that have to win 3-2, so be it. I think a lot of us understand that the squad as it is isn't well suited for anything. We need a lot of renewal in the team for next year and in the years to come as well. Of course, you guys expect me to give more thoughts and opinions in a 5 talking points video out tomorrow. Of course, as I keep trying to paint all the time, it's a very complicated situation right now. As I keep trying to paint the picture, Sarri needs to be criticised for certain things, but he can't be criticised for everything. And I think that's a mistake too many people are making. I'm going to hope to further elaborate my points in tomorrow's video. But you guys, of course, you know, in the end, we got it. And I'm hoping that Sarri is going to finally see the light. I know I've been saying this for a while now, but I need to see something new for the next league game. You guys, thank you for watching today's video. Please like, comment and subscribe. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. Signing out.